Debbie Field. Debbie, you have 3 minutes.
Thank you. My name is Debbie Field, and I'm actually here to represent 390,000 children and people in the City of Toronto. 141,000 of them get a healthy breakfast, lunch, or snack every day at a school in every single ward in this city. 141,000 kids have, I calculate, let's say if they're single-parent families, let's call it 210 voting parents. Hopefully a lot of them will be coming to each and every one of your offices in the next few weeks to let you know how important the local student nutrition program is. And another 30,000 people who participate in community gardens, good food boxes, good food markets, and kitchens, again, in every single one of the wards of the City of Toronto. It is fabulous what Toronto has done around food. And I have so many great stories, but the stories from Michael Thompson's ward are the best. I'm also representing about 16 people who are on the speakers list who won't be able to be here because it's in the middle of the night, and some of them are teenagers, and some of them are in social assistance, and some of them use wheel-trans. So, Councillor Thompson, I'd like to talk about Jimmy McGuff, Deputy Number 284, who isn't here, and Nicholas Sales, Deputy 285. 2 years ago, I spoke in a panel downtown on the day that a student was shot and luckily not killed at Bendale Collegiate. Bendale Collegiate sits in the middle of 36 acres of arable land. And because of money from the city, Food Chair was able to create the first ever 1-acre market garden on that land. And those 4 kids, 2 of whom were going to come here, we're going to tell you what that meant to their lives. There's also a breakfast club and a lunch program and a snack program in that school, all funded by the City of Toronto. I also would like to tell you a little bit about Violet Cordova, number 252, who lives in Etobicoke, and Jenny Gonzalez, who lives in North York, 275, who won't be here, who run good food markets, low-income people operating markets so that people can have healthy food. I think I want to talk last about the city and really get back into that question about what is the city. I love the city. I think the city is one of the greatest cities in the world, partly because we have healed the kind of racial and political tensions that are destroying the world. In Michael Thompson's ward, every single one of your wards, and you know that, you know this, Mayor Ford, there are people from the former parts of Bosnia who are playing together, and they're not fighting. They're not fighting because we built a great city. What you're about to do is make this city vulnerable to violence, vulnerable to the kind of infighting that can happen when there are not community services. I'm also here representing the United Way. And what we like to say in the United Way is, look to the left, look to the right, and 1 in 3 of us have used a service.
Questions? 3 minutes. Yes, Councillor Mahavik. 1 minute. Yes, Councillor Carroll.
In terms of global, jurisdictions around the world, where do we rank as Torontonians say around student nutrition? What's the best practice out there? What should we be striving for?
For sure, and I know I'm really glad. I heard on Rogers that you were asked this. Somebody else asked this question. We've just done public health has just done a global survey. Everywhere in the world, the punchline is totally cost shared between parents, municipal governments, provinces and state, and federal government. I've been behind helping to get the city to put money in over the 20 years that I've been a parent activist. I was the person who helped negotiate the provincial money, which gets us now $3 million to the city, and I'm pushing hard to get a federal student nutrition program. When we have that, then we will have all 3 levels of government and parent contributions. All of our programs are that way, and the international literature search tells you that's the way to go. Kids have to eat every day. It's a combined responsibility of parents. Why is it a city responsibility? It's a city's responsibility.
Thank you very much. Councillor Carroll, yes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Debbie, hi, long time no see. When I got elected in 2003, Councillor Fletcher came in, Councillor Thompson, Councillor Davis, we all sort of came in a wave, Councillor Platio. One of the earliest memories I have is Councillor Mahavik over there and yourself coming to bend my ear that we got to do something about the student nutrition program because it's going to die on the vine and it had been frozen or whatever. We're getting emails now saying, well, can't they find some efficiency in that snack program for those little kiddies? Was the efficiency all in just flatlining it for years?
No, what's going on is we have a crisis of childhood obesity that is going to actually cost our society so much money, and we know that. The reason you're involved in a city is you are totally involved in public health, and you're also totally involved in making sure that communities are safe. I want to talk a little bit to George Mamalidi about the Northwest 7. What we've proven in the Northwest 7 is that if you feed...
Thank you very much. Councillor Davis, next question.
What have you proven in the Northwest 7?
After the shooting of Jordan Manors, all 7 of the principals, not directly in George's ward, it's just next to it, all 7 of those schools, which are 3 high schools and 4 junior schools, we're all getting together with Karen Faulkner, who's the superintendent there, and she's saying, tell me, what do you want? You want more police? You want more social workers? What are we going to do here? We've got to make sure that these schools don't go off the rails. And all 7 of them said, we need food. The kids are hungry. And so then what happened is the school board always told me that you could never do a universal snack program in a high school. Could never work. High school kids wouldn't do it. And what we've proven in the Northwest 7 is you can do a universal snack program. 1,400 kids a day can have a healthy snack. And you know what? Scores on all their tests are higher. Absentee rates are lower. Violence is lower. That's what we've proven in the Northwest 7.
Thank you very much. Councillor Fletcher.
Yes, you were going to tell us why this is, I'm over here, why this was a city, why the city should do that. And people say, why does the city have to do that? Can you tell us that?
Well, we live in this place. We don't live in the province or the federal government. And we do a lot of things to make this a livable city. And food programs are one of the lowest cost ways of making social harmony, which is in fact the responsibility of the city. There's also a lot of public health reasons that we do it. We do it because kids have to eat well or they won't be good kids. And whether you're a little old lady who doesn't have any kids, it matters to you. And that's why municipal governments all over the world invest in children's health and food.
Thank you. Any other questions? Sorry, someone's playing with the clock. I'm not touching it, so we got to figure out what's going on here. Councillor Layton, I'm going to start it here, but someone might...
30.
Hold on one second, Councillor Layton. I want to give you a full minute.
Great.
Stop. Okay, here we go.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Hold on 1 second. Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
Thank you for being here. KPMG identifies that eliminating student nutrition programs as a potential cost-saving measure, and they describe the risk like this, that the programs funded through these services would end, and that would result in student nutrition could be compromised through the elimination of this service. Do you think "could" is a good word to describe what the results would be of ending this program on student nutrition?
No, obviously we know that children need to eat well. I've been thinking about all the past mayors of the city. I've been thinking about Mel Lastman, who I had to make a lot of deputations in front of. I've been thinking about the situation we faced then, when we had taxpayers groups begging the city to cut. I haven't heard of a single equivalent group, by the way, here today. There are none of the kind of pressures on you that were here under the Lastman years. And Mel Lastman knew well to not cut 2 things.
Thank you, Deb.
Student nutrition or grants.
Next is Councillor Vaughn.
We've been focusing a lot on investing in preventative programs so that the core service programs wouldn't have inflated costs due to changes. What is the literature telling us about nutrition and in particular teenage boys and their propensity for antisocial behavior?
It's fantastic, and I would love, and I've been wanting to invite you, Mayor Ford, to come down and see this. Food Share Rent's a part of an old school, an abandoned school at 90 Croatia. And one of the schools that's in there is something called the Safe and Caring School. It is a school for kids who have been expelled from all other schools. And those young boys and girls, 16 to 17, come to school more often because they participate in the Food Share Good Food Cafe. We have proven again, and we can show you all the international literature, and your public health department has lots of this. If you want kids in trouble to come to school, if you want boys who are disaffected, let them cook. Contact School is a great example of this.
Thank you very much. That's 1 minute. Any other questions? And I don't see any other questions, but you know what, Debbie? I want to add a personal point. I hope you enjoy the football team that I started at Bendale and Winston Churchill. As you know, this year is going to be first time in history, and it's $10,000 out of my football foundation to benefit the kids that you're talking about.
Good.
So
And will you take me up on my offer and come visit me at
more
Food
than
Chair?
happy to come to Bendale.
Okay.
Or I was at
No,
Winston Churchill.
Food Chair, 90
No
Croydon.
problem. All the best. Thank you very much. Herb Vandal Duo, I think it is. I'm sorry if I pronounce your name wrong. Herb?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Thank you,
so
Mr. Mayor, councillors.
3 minutes.
Thank you very much. I'm proud that I was raised by frugal Dutch Calvinist parents. And they knew how to penny pinch. But at the same time, they knew how to help a neighbor. And who's my neighbor here? And I would say everybody in Toronto. I recently bought a condo with options for homes. And I'm doing better than a lot of Torontonians. And I have been blessed. I would be happy to pay more in property tax. And I would be happy to pay more in the land transfer tax when and if I sell the condo. And I would also be happy to pay a road toll if and when I rent a car, which is frequent. I think these are all worthwhile services that we need to keep up, and the only way we can pay for this is with our property tax, or our various taxes. And still, I'm frugal, and I would like the city to be frugal. So I'm asking that the one big white elephant in the room is the Shepherd subway. So I ask the mayor that they put that on the back burner if and when it ever becomes a priority for that area. But right now, it's a subway to nowhere, and we have much higher priorities, other areas of transit. When we're talking about cutting TTC bus service, streetcar service, etc., I don't think a subway is really that high a priority. So my Dutch Calvinist side asks you to put that back on the shelf. So I'm a proud taxpayer, and I'd be happy to pay more taxes. Thank you very much.
Herb, any questions? Councillor Mamalini, you have a minute. Go ahead, Councillor.
Scarborough doesn't exist?
It does, but they don't need, it doesn't have the population, and there was no expert that said that there'd be enough people using that subway in order to make it worthwhile.
Where do you live in the city?
How is that relevant?
Just curious. I'm guessing that it's downtown.
Yeah, I don't use TTC, but I do know that other people do. And actually, when you're talking about cutting bus routes in Scarborough and North York and Etobicoke, I think you're going to be hurting more people in Scarborough than you're helping with the subway.
So a subway would suit the needs of the downtown core before Scarborough?
Well, we're not in a situation to build any subways at all, actually.
Oh, should we in the downtown core?
At some point, I would suppose so.
Before Scarborough?
I don't know.
Oh.
Let's leave it up to the experts.
Okay, thank you, Councillor. Any other questions? Seeing none, thank you, Herb. Thank you very much.